Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota, and I'm glad you could join me for this episode. Last week, we did our Wesleyan Covenant service for the podcast. And this week, I thought I would share with you a little bit about some of the things that I've been pondering, and maybe to be a little more candid in this podcast than in others. Not that I'm not always speaking from the heart, but maybe sharing some things that I'm not sure what to do with, and maybe you can help me. This past week, the ministerial met at the school administration building, and we met with Dr. Kindle, the school superintendent, and it was really, we do that every year. It's one of his regular standing groups that he meets with, and it was good. Some of it was about the renewal of the opt-out that's happening with the school district, but also it was a chance to talk about how the churches and the school system can work together for a better Yankton. And one of the things that he talked about was the number, even if you look just at our elementary kids, the number of kids in our community that are not connected to any church. And one of the things that they're seeing in the school system is different behavioral things that are coming up in kids that are much younger. And the question was raised, and it's one that's been stuck in my mind for since the meeting, about what do we do and how do we reach the people who are not connected anywhere, people who are raising children and not having faith be any part of their children's lives. It's a really difficult demographic because a lot of, in this area, most people, not all, but a lot, are familiar with the church, are familiar with Christianity, perhaps grew up in it in some capacity themselves. And so not going is often a conscious choice to not go, or a choice of it doesn't really matter if we go or have our children go. But one of the things that you're seeing is that maybe it does matter, and maybe it is very important for us to reach the people in our community that are not connected to churches. But it got me thinking about all of the people that have been connected to our church that are not anymore, or people that were once very connected that have become sort of, I think the word that gets thrown around is fringe. People that are sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And those people have been really on my heart, and I know that they're on your hearts a lot. I get messages and notes and you guys kind of stopping by and saying, "Hey, have you heard from so and so, or have you seen so and so? We just haven't seen them in a while, or maybe they're involved in this one aspect, but then we just haven't. But they used to be involved in a lot of things, and and so often, um, there's a variety of reasons for people to kind of fall into that category. Um, and also for us at the church not to know what those reasons are. Um, and so one of the thoughts that as I've been pondering this, because I think that is, as I look to the future of the church, one of the things that I really care about is that our church is a place where people feel welcome and safe, at a place where they can belong and hopefully heal from whatever might have driven them away from a church community in the past. Whatever community that might be, that our church can be a place of healing for people. But there's a big challenge in that sort of vision, and that challenge is how do you get over the initial hump? How do you get people to give you a chance and to walk through those doors or to come to an event or to even know about the event? Because our normal channels of getting the word out are, um, I don't think, reaching people who are not part of the church already. And so those are the things I've been pondering and thinking about. And then the other thing is, and I think this has been a trend for a while, but certainly post-COVID, that there is a real, uh, what's the word I want to use here? Um, Acceptance of um, kind of minimal involvement, and there's just like people could come, but they find a lot of reasons not to, or it's just easier not to, or they haven't been. And then again, that initial hump over back into something, or there's grief there, maybe, or hurt there, maybe, or things have changed, so their preferences aren't being met. Um, and and I guess my question is, why are we so okay with, you know, that kind of faith that's not a real powerful sort of faith. It's not really transformative. It's not um, gonna make a whole lot of difference in your life. Um, and I've just noticed a trend a little bit of like once you get out of the habit, then you get out of the habit and you get less connected. And then maybe because you feel less connected, you don't feel the pull or the desire, or you start to feel like, well, the church isn't doing anything for me. Um, but also the church doesn't know where you are or what you need or what you're struggling with or anything like that where we could do something and we would like to be able to help. Um, and so I'm just curious. I would love to have some candid conversations. I've had conversations with people who are here who've heard things, first, second, third hand. But I would love to have conversations um, that are honest and that are, what is it that is keeping people from uh, what I believe to be a really positive thing, which is to be a part of something greater than yourself, to be a part of a community that can love and support you, to be a part of um, a place where you can find hope, healing, and belonging, where your children can belong and have community and learn not only the stories and you know values of our faith, but also, again, how to love and care for people and to treat one another with respect and kindness and um, to have a kind of a tribe to help raise your children and grandchildren, um, all of those things. I think sometimes people my age and younger and maybe a little older, we sort of take for granted what we were given, and the environment in which we were raised, even if it wasn't all perfect, or maybe we didn't think it was all that much fun. And so like I'm not going to make my kids suffer through that. But we kind of forget that that was really formative for us and we're not offering that to our children. We're not allowing our children to have those same types of formative faith experiences, because maybe it was a mixed bag for us. And and if there is real genuine hurt there, I'm so sorry that that happened. And it's not okay that it did. Um, and I understand the struggle then that you would have in bringing kids to any church for that matter. Um, but I really do believe that what we have to offer here is what you need. Um, and it doesn't happen with this kind of one foot in, one foot out sort of, I'm just going to wait and see what happens and what other people are doing. And when it maybe meets my standards, I'll come back. But to really do the hard thing and make the leap and show up and see what God is up to. But what I would really love is to be able to reach out to people who are maybe struggling and who are maybe longing for a place that they don't know exists that is right here in our church. I think so often the narrative of what church is or could be is is dominated by churches that are not us. And I think I've said before, we're not ones to really toot our own horns, and we're modest in a lot of ways, but I really do believe we have something valuable here to offer people that's real, that this can really be a place where people can belong and show up authentically as who they are and problems and baggage and all, and know that there is a God who sees them and loves them and is going to work in them and in their lives. I mean, I think that's really powerful. Um, and to not be told that you have to have everything together before you show up here, that you have to be dressed to the nines before you show up here, that you have to have perfectly well-behaved children before you show up here, because that's certainly not the case. This is a place for everyone. And so that's one of the things as I look into this next year that I really am contemplating as the pastor, that I'm really also a bit at a loss of um, how to get the ear of the people that need us. Uh, I've had a few encounters in the last few weeks of people who, just by happenstance or for other reasons, I've been able to encounter, and they hear about our church, or we just have a conversation. I had one that happened just yesterday, and the person commented, "I did not expect you to be like this laid back, this, like maybe this would be a good place for me." And, like, again, I think if people just gave us a shot, they would see and they would experience. It's not going to be the flashiest church. We're not the most well-produced church. We're not going to be the most um, rock concerty church that you can find even here in Yankton. Um, But I do believe that what we have is authenticity, and what we have is a sincere desire to serve and to make a difference and to walk with each other and to understand that we're all dealing with something, and we don't have to go through it alone. Um, and I know from my own personal experience, that's all I've ever really wanted, was a place where I didn't feel alone, where God's love for me was made tangible in the people around me, where where people were kind and thoughtful and praying for me and for, what's going on in the world, and I could do something that made a difference, and I felt good about it. Um, and that there were rituals that helped mark my life and mark my family's life. And I mean, there's power in those things. And I really do believe that some of the people my age and younger um, are missing it, in that they're not here and they're missing it, but they're also, I think, missing it, and they're wanting to find it. But there's a lot of baggage for a church that they're not sure, maybe they're not ready, or they're not willing to give it a shot again. And so uh, when we look at the vision of our church being a church of hope, healing, and belonging that welcomes all, I want us to really live into that. How can we, as a church, be a beacon of hope and healing, and a place where people that don't have anywhere to belong can belong? And how do we find them? How do we reach them and meet them and invite them in? those are real questions. And I hope that I'm not alone in this work. I hope that we as a congregation will do this work together and tackle these things together, but know that that is what is on my heart and mind to as I think about what it means to have this vision for the church. Um, if we're really truly going to accomplish that, there are so many people right here in Yankton that I think we need to work a little harder at finding and meeting where they are and inviting them into our community, because if it's been a blessing to us, it could be a blessing to them. And if we can be a blessing to them, I want to be. And so um, that's one of the ways that I've been thinking about, how do we live into this? How do we reach out? Because I think we've been so focused on, well, so and so left, and this person left, and that person left, and I don't know why they're not coming, and I don't know either because they're not telling me, and I wish that I could change that, and maybe I need to work harder to try to reach out. Um, but I also think maybe there are other people that we could spend our energy on that have been looking for this place, and we've been hiding right under their noses because we haven't been willing or able to talk about who we are and what we have to offer. And so uh, that's one way as we contemplate this mission and vision. Um, that I see it playing out, that I see my priorities for the year, what they're looking like, and part of the reason I will make some of the decisions I make for the what we're doing in church is because I'm trying to live into that and trying to, um, again, if part of our purpose is to make disciples, but the other part is to make a difference, that's what the school system is saying would make a difference in our schools and make a difference in our communities, is having more and more of our children in Yankton connected to a faith community that can love and pour into them Christ's love and grace. And I don't know, that message just hit me loud and clear. That is something we need to be doing. Um, so if you have thoughts, ideas, radical or minuscule, I will take all of them, and love to partner with you in the ways that we can start doing that. And know that I'm very serious about that, that I really want this church to be a place where people can find a home and get support and healing and help that they need um, through the power of Christ. Uh, yeah, so I just want to look ahead a little bit on our calendar uh, for January. I don't know, not sure why I said it that way, but I did. On the 14th, our leadership team will be meeting after church, and that is our new leaders, like our new, including our newly elected leaderships members, and so that's exciting. We're going to be talking about the budget again, and if you didn't watch the podcast from a few weeks ago, I really kind of dive deep into what the challenges are there and what the needs are. And if you haven't already, make sure that you're updating your pledge. And if you're someone who does like Banco or direct deposit, make sure you're getting those pledges updated for the new year. Tuesday, the 16th, we begin the Tuesday lunch study on Revelation for normal people. That first session you can just come to. There won't be any reading prior to that session. We're basically just going to be getting to know each other a little bit, introducing the book, and kind of working setting up the series. And so that begins the 16th. Again, that runs from noon to 1 on Tuesdays. I still have Christianity 101 happening on Sunday mornings so far. This last week we talked about what is the church, which dovetailed really nicely into the sermon. This week it will be on the 14th, it'll be on what is prayer. The 21st on the image of God, and the 28th on salvation. And so I know they seem like kind of really up here, theological sounding things, but I promise they're at the core of our faith and who we are and how we operate. And so I think that's going to be really important. Um, Women's Night Out is the 18th of January. We are doing, well, I would say it's wine and canvas, but it's not wine, it's just canvas. And they'll be here at the church. That's at 6:30. If you're interested in going, you do need to let me know. That cost is $40 for that. And let me know if that's an issue and we can work on that. I'm going to be doing Human Services Center worship on the 21st this month rather than the 7th. And then also on the 28th, we'll be having a town hall meeting following the worship service. Again, for transparency, to talk about the roof and our budget and our new vision and mission and whatever else is on your heart to talk about, because we want to hear from all of you. So those are just some of the things that are happening in January. Don't forget also to turn in your t-shirt designs. I need to just show you because it makes my heart so happy. This is one of the first designs that have been turned in on paper, and I love it. So I took this and tried to interpret it a little bit, and so having a design that looks like this. So that's if you turn it in on paper, great. Maybe if I do it like this, you can see a little bit better. It says, "I love you, Jesus," and so we'll do our best to sort of faithfully interpret as much as we can. This one came from a kindergartner, and I love it. So please turn in your designs so we can vote on those and get what we want to wear and talk about. And again, another way to find the people in our community that are seeking a place to belong. And so with that, I hope you're doing well. I'll see you soon. God bless. Thank you for listening to this episode of What's Going On. We'd love to have you join us for worship here at the church on Sundays at 10 a.m. You can also find us online via our website at firstumcyankton.org or search for us on YouTube.